Boyfriend gaslit me when I saw a spicy picture of him and his work wife. I'm not buying. My partner, 30, and I, 28, have been together for 3 years. 6 months ago, they befriended a coworker, Jay. At first, it was harmless. Jay is helping me with a project late into midnight. Then came the inside jokes, late night Slack pings in our bed, and Jay's emergency calls even during our dates. I voiced discomfort, but my partner insisted that I'm just being paranoid and that they're just work spouses. I always hated that term. Or it's just cultural differences. I am from South Asia, and my partner is from Western Europe. 2 weeks ago, I noticed a picture in my partner's trash folder. My partner with Jay in a selfie half naked in a sauna during a work retreat. Metadata showed the location to be a secluded cabin for rent 2 hours from where the work retreat was held. I confronted my partner, and he claimed the place where the work retreat was scheduled was overbooked. It was the venue that booked the cabin for them. My partner again reiterated that I'm being paranoid, that this is common, and it all comes down to cultural differences. I'm freaking the F out. I have no real way to verify my partner's claims. Am I overreacting? Well, Oppie, first of all, I don't think you're overreacting because I have boundaries. Regardless of culture, if your partner's behavior definitely crosses lines like being half naked with a coworker, then yeah, you're definitely not overreacting if it bugs you. Also, the lie doesn't even make sense. Why would a venue be overbooked and then book them a cabin 2 hours away from where the work retreat would be? A work retreat is mostly a team-building exercise. Who would be 2 hours away from a team-building exercise? Like, what? Would they need to commute, take a bus, a train? It doesn't make any sense. Obi, to me it sounds like your partner is cheating on you with a coworker and they're using the cultural excuse to get out of it. So no, I don't think you're overreacting. I think this is it. And what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section, and now let's check out the community comments. Oddly enough says not overreacting. Maybe it's just my marriage, but if his work retreat was overbooked and he had to stay in a private unit with a coworker, the first thing he'd do is call me. Your gut is screaming at you for a reason. A lot of suspicious activity going in there. Cooptown 13 says, I think it's unlikely that the hotel was overbooked if a company had blocked in their retreat. I don't think it's likely the next available location would be 2 hours away. I don't think it's likely that a male and female would be required to share accommodations. Although, I'm a bit older and maybe out of touch with this viewpoint. Latflies says, Eastern European here. Work spouses aren't a cultural thing. Those are dumbass things. A hotel booked a secluded house with a sauna? Read that like 10 times. I'm sorry. Cheating isn't a cultural thing. Potted Plant Fairy says, there's no way their workplace booked them a private cabin 2 hours away from where the retreat was because there was no space. I'm sorry. OP, I know it's hard to accept and I know it's devastating. But your partner is cheating and they're also treating you like you're dumb. Sad face. And Bleeka Chu says, not overreacting. Jay is without a shadow of a doubt his mistress. The picture was in the trash for a reason. And if it's not a big deal, then he should email that photo and CC everyone at his work. If it's truly from a work retreat, he should be comfortable doing so. The fact is doing that would be a job killer because that's not just effed because he has a partner. It's effed because he's cheating or at the very least being incredibly inappropriate with a coworker. Opie's edit. Thank you for all the sympathetic comments. I feel like I'm at the wake of my relationship. My English might not be good. Thank you for understanding. Sorry if I haven't responded to your comments yet. I am reading them and freaking out so bad and hyperventilating. Some context. My partner has been truthful and kind all the years I've known him until right now. I moved to my partner's country 2 years ago after a year of dating in my country. There's a lot of cultural differences like night and day, and my partner has been my guide through it all. So when I confronted them about the picture and they said it's cultural, I had to believe it. But tonight, it's 3 a.m. here, I couldn't sleep, and I kept having this nagging feeling of what if. I'm going to call the venue as some of you suggested. Although the region we are in and where the retreat happened is remote enough that the nearest possible accommodation could be really 2 hours away. Edit 2. Just woke up after a bit of sleep. Still in panic mode. My partner has gone to the office. I took the day off. To those calling this BS, I hope you never face this kind of situation ever. To those sending me chat requests, please don't. Even if you're doing this out of sympathy, I will most probably end up deleting this account as this blew up. I will be snooping around before I confront my partner again. But thanks again for the well wishes, advice, and everything. You've made this experience a bit less insufferable. Alright, well, the community apparently opened OP's eyes a little bit and she's gonna do some digging around. So let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. A big thank you to all who answered the question if I were overreacting. Even though 99% of those responded thought I am not overreacting, 1% of you and my partner thinks I am overreacting. Nonetheless, thank you to everyone for taking the time to respond. Quick clarification. Jay is a woman. Okay. So update. I'm pretty sure my partner was cheating and I've decided to leave him. I left the house and staying overnight elsewhere. I would like to respond to a few comments in the original post first. I am not married to my partner, thankfully. I am not going to take his money and run. I am sorry, but I won't be able to live with myself if I did that. I am still not confident about my English. When you learn the language as a second language, you translate from your mother tongue, and you always wonder if you could have phrased something better. As per my edit on the original post, I woke up somewhere around 10 a.m. this morning. I was panicking, but I called in sick to my work. My partner had already left for work by the time. I ringed up the original venue and explained myself, and the person on the other side was very sympathetic. They informed me that they were never overbooked in recent history and that it would be quite surprising if it happened at all this season. They checked their list and informed me that no one by the name of my partner or Jay claimed a keycard along with the work retreat folks. Everyone had their own rooms allocated during the retreat. I was pretty sure by now what has happened. My only regret was that I did not make a copy of the picture when I had the chance. I decided to pretend like nothing happened because I needed more solid evidence before any confrontation. I was waiting to hear back from someone else. Towards the evening, my partner comes home all angry. The reason was that I asked for advice on Reddit in public. I would have usually justified my action, but I decided to ask my partner's opinions on the responses. My partner said that Reddit is a cesspool and no one should be seeking advice on there. I told my partner that I am a free-thinking individual, and even if Reddit gave me bad advice, I can decide to take it or leave it. My partner was furious for some reason. I was furious because there was no way my partner would have looked at Reddit by himself. I suspected Jay showed it to him. We said some things we shouldn't have said. Finally, in a moment of frustration, I blurted out that I knew all about their vacation and how I knew. My partner told me that they were appalled that I would contact the venue myself instead of trusting my partner and that there is no point in continuing like this. I said it's true that there's no point in continuing like this if we don't trust each other or tell the other the full truth. Some other things were said. After we both calmed down a bit, I gave my partner a choice. I will believe my partner if my partner never interacted with Jay ever again. According to my partner, it's impossible when they're working together on some of the most important projects in the company. He sarcastically said it would be better if he just resigned. I said I am fine with that, but that's not going to happen. I left the house later in the evening and a friend from work offered to take me in for the night. I said I would rather stay at a hotel, and he took me to one. My partner has already ringed me a dozen times and had sent some messages. I haven't responded to any of them, so I am leaving my partner. I am not going back to him, and from the looks of it, neither is he coming back to me. He is still holding the line that everything is above board with our relationship. I am a little proud of myself for standing my ground and spotting this before I started to apologize for snooping. Well, OP, good for you for not letting him gaslight you into thinking this was a cultural thing. Yeah, cheating is not cultural like some commenter said. And it's also a good thing that you're not married or have kids so you can easily move on from this jerk. So on that note, OP, take care and thanks for sharing. And now let's move on to the next post that also has an update. This post is from the subreddit, Am I the A-hole? And it's by user Muchbed2383. Am I the a-hole for ignoring my wife for throwing away my late wife's videotapes? I am writing this because I don't know what to do. I have a daughter with my late wife and her name is Eleanor. Her birthday is coming up in 2 weeks and she's turning 18. Background. Me and my late wife, Chloe, had been dating since college. We got older and ended up getting married. And after our wedding, she shared news to me that she was pregnant, and I was excited that we were expecting our first child. Since it was our first child, we bought a video camera and made little tapes and snippets of her whole pregnancy. Wholesome things such as us just joking around or having lunch or talking to our unborn child through the camera. We made a compromise to only show Eleanor the tapes until her 18th birthday. Fast forward 2 years after her birth, Chloe passed away due to a drunk driver crashing into her car as she was coming home from her mother's house. I was devastated for her passing and went into a deep depression and having to raise our 2-year-old daughter by myself. My friends tried to get me to go out again and start back dating, but every time I did, I felt like I was betraying her. Years later, when Eleanor was 13, I met Wendy. We met at a gathering for my sister's birthday, and we instantly hit it off. She didn't mind that I had a daughter because she had 2 kids herself and just went through a divorce. 2 years after, we got married. Now back to the present. Eleanor's 18th birthday is coming up and I kept all the tapes for me to show her. Mind you, her mother died when she was just 2, so Eleanor doesn't remember her touch or her voice. I was excited to show her the tapes. And a week ago, I was talking to Wendy about it, and I noticed her expression going from happy to looking a bit uncomfortable. Wendy would always get uncomfortable when I talk about my late wife. I don't say things like, Why can't you be like Chloe? Or Chloe was supposed to be my first love, but I talk about her in a way to give my daughter a mental picture of how her mother was like. Wendy has always talked to me about Chloe and how it made her sad that she can't be like her. Chloe was a model, then started working on her fashion career, and don't get me wrong, she was a really beautiful woman while Wendy had 2 kids in college and not in the best shape. Her words, "I love both women how they are, and I've never had a preference, but I feel like Wendy is gaining some jealousy towards Chloe. I told Wendy that I love her just the way she was, and she broke down crying." The next day after that incident, she came up to me and apologized for the way she acted last night. I told her it was okay and it's good that she felt comfortable to share her feelings, and they gave her a big tight hug and a kiss on her forehead. She asked to see where the tapes were at, and I showed her the box of videotapes of my late wife in my closet. Things were going fine until yesterday morning. I was looking for the tapes because I wanted to put them in a prettier box for my daughter, and when I went to find them, the box wasn't in my closet. I looked everywhere to the point I walked downstairs to see my wife laying on the couch watching TV. I asked her about the box and she told me she threw it away with a neutral expression. My heart dropped and I asked her what did she mean, and she told me that I talked about her too much and that I needed to move on with my life, so she threw them away as a head start. I was fuming with anger because not only she threw away what I had left of her, she threw away my daughter's big surprise. We quickly got into an argument and she noticed how angry I was, so she started apologizing. It got to the point I started crying and locked myself in our bedroom. It's the morning after, and I'm writing this in my office, going through my computer, finding old files or any type of video of my late wife to give it to my daughter because sometimes my daughter still cries that she never got to meet her mother, and I really thought it would bring her closer to her. I've been ignoring my wife for the past day, and she's been texting me non-stop about how sorry she is, but I really just can't look at her right now. It's getting to the point our mutual friends are texting me to accept her apology and get over it since Chloe died over 10 years ago, but I'm trying to ignore them all because they never had someone so close to them die. I am working on finding these files and I'm starting to think I was overreacting. I don't know what to do and I really need help. Well, it'd be the first thing I'd do is, of course, turn the house upside down. I'm sure you've already done that, but I would check everywhere, even the most improbable place. I don't know where you live, so I don't know if it's a house or a building or anything, but I would check trash cans. I would check communal trash bins. I would check the schedule for the trash pickup to see if the truck passed by already or not. The other thing is I would tell Wendy that if she ever wants to think about being forgiven, she'd better find those tapes. And once you get the tapes, you definitely file for divorce. I'm sorry if Wendy has struggles with her insecurities or whatever, but what she did is horrible. Honestly, if she's jealous of Chloe's memory, F her. It's not about her and it's not even about Chloe. It's about your daughter. And I don't think I could spend the rest of my life with someone who would hurt my daughter that way just because she's jealous of a memory. And what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section, and now let's check out the community comments. Altruistic U737 says, "Dear Lord, I'm honestly not one to advocate for divorce, but I do not think I could continue a relationship with someone who did something so wildly despicable. That isn't jealousy. That's a mental disorder. She's told the only vestiges of your wife that your daughter will have. This is not something you come back from or she can apologize for. This is a line in the sand." Gagglebear says, "Not the but your new wife is. To act sorry about throwing a tantrum, then using your sympathy and empathy to show her the videos just so she can throw them away out of spite, especially knowing your plans for them with your daughter. She'd be my ex-wife real soon if I were in her shoes." Says, "Not the what the F. I'm a widow and I'm going to be completely blunt here. I could not share my life with someone so heinous as to throw something so precious and irreplaceable. This is unforgivable. I'd pack my crap, call a lawyer, and only communicate through the lawyer. Anyone saying you're wrong can F right off. What she's done is show an incredibly huge amount of disrespect for you, your daughter, and your marriage. She destroyed what could have been one of the most important memorable moments in your daughter's life. This goes way beyond just throwing tapes away. What the F? There's no coming back from this." And Orange Mummy says, "Just to be clear on the timeline of the incident, she knew the tapes were for your daughter and then threw them away? I'd be ignoring her forever, not the a-hole." Well, the community agrees OP is not the a-hole and Wendy should be out. So now let's move on to the update to see how the story ends. I didn't expect this to blow up. I came on here to look for general advice and now I have thousands of people talking in my DMs. I'm going to be answering some questions that I'm getting asked about the most. I was thinking about asking Wendy about the tapes and where she threw them out at, but I saw a comment that told me to not ask her because it might give her some time to hide it or lie. Instead, when I went back home, I checked in the outside trash cans and the kitchen one, and I still couldn't find them. Trash can day isn't until Thursday, so I was confused. I finally went up to ask her, And at first, she wasn't gonna tell me. I threatened with divorce like one of you guys said, and she gave in. It turns out she kept the videotapes in her car until trash day arrived because she knew I would look through the trash. So now I have the tapes. Thank God. Another question asked was, did Eleanor know about the tapes? No. I didn't want to ruin the surprise until if I knew that I had a backup. She didn't know about them now, and I'm not planning on telling her until her birthday. The only problem is that I'm afraid that Wendy might tell her. One more question is people asking if I'm considering divorce. Wendy never did anything like this before, and I don't want to ruin a 6-year relationship. But at the same time, I really do think she needs some type of help. I'm considering asking her to go to therapy, and I'm really considering our relationship. Wendy is really good with my daughter, and my daughter loves her and her children like family. I think Wendy is just trying to take Chloe's place with being Eleanor's mother. I'm really starting to think she has issues. A lot of people also said, if I don't divorce her, I will betray my daughter. My daughter is my number one, and I think I should find someone better that can respect not only me, but my daughter and her mother. So hold on. She was apologizing and apologizing and apologizing, seeing how distraught you were, but she was still hiding the tapes from you until she could throw them out when the truck passed by? F. Wendy, man. Sorry, no. This is not a sunken cost fallacy kind of situation, OP.